So my name is Chris West. I'm from Leeds. This is my first business. I started around a year ago. So watching this has been recorded in February. So I started my business in January. Probably didn't start on Amazon until March time. And I just started how most people start, which is having a look on Facebook, having a look in charity shops, experimenting really with books. And then a couple of weeks of that, you sort of realise, people are selling different products here. They're selling electrical items, they're selling grocery items. Started selling them, and then obviously you realise that certain categories sell faster than others. So started branching out, and then I subscribed to a sourcing list eventually. So mainly sourcing off sourcing lists and Facebook Marketplace, because I would sell used items as well on Amazon. And then naturally you start to think, right, how many other people have got these sourcing lists? Price is coming down, there's a lot of competition. I'm running my own virtual assistant here that's going to source for me. Yeah. So then naturally along this journey, you're looking on YouTube. I came across yourself with your, was it your bi-weekly YouTube streams that you do on a Sunday, and realised that you were starting to talk about things that maybe others didn't talk about on YouTube, and then came across FBA FastTrack in terms of the getting the tokens, because obviously you've got your own VAs, I buy the tokens, I can look at the deals, look at all the charts, and then spend my tokens on certain deals. Obviously on your stream, you were starting to talk about that you was going to be doing a service. And that's how I got into your service, really.
You know, anyone might be looking at getting a VA now. You know, you must have had some concerns about, like, oh my God, you know, we can all source ourselves, but some people are worried about hiring a VA. Like, there's a worry about it. You know, what kind of worries did you have before, you know, taking that plunge and saying, hey, actually, I now want to get a VA in? You know, what were your concerns there?
The two main ones were, am I going to be able to afford them? And the second one is, will they find enough deals to pay for themselves, and can I trust them? I know that it could take several months until I start to see the profit of having a VA. Personally, I'm really happy with where my VA is at the minute. So imagine what it's going to be like in 6 to 12 months' time.
Yeah.
As you keep compounding. I think some of the other worries, because I've never really employed anyone online, is what's the standard of the English going to be like? How educated are they going to be? How committed are they going to be? Will they have any problems in terms of the timing of them getting the deals to me? Little things like, what's the broadband structure like in the Philippines? But actually, they've actually been some of the biggest things that have been surprising. So in terms of how educated Janelle is and how committed he is, has been a big thing, which within a few days, that level of commitment shown completely put my mind at rest, knowing that, well, if on certain days, if my VA was only going to be able to find 6 or 7 deals, well, actually, he'd committed the fact that, oh, don't worry, I'll spend as long as I can until I find the 10 deals. So we're actually about, well, you know, don't worry so much in the first week if you don't find 10 every day. Sometimes you'll find 7, sometimes you'll find 14. But as long as over the long term, it averages out. And yeah, I think over the first 2 weeks, I've purchased just over 70%
wow.
of the deals they found, which has been obviously 7 a day. So I'm really pleased with that, because I've heard stories before where, you know, people have struggled to buy 50%, and that's the experience for years. So I've been really pleased.
It's great. And let me ask you the question, you know, and while you're just talking about that, like stories, you know, what horror stories have you heard? What were your worries? You know, like, oh my God, I've heard this story about this. What have you heard about from other people, other sellers?
Well, the main stories that I've heard that were worrying is the fact that your VA could just up and leave, or stories of, I've spent so much on training, I've spent so much time getting them up to speed with my business, and then after the first week they'd leave. So that's obviously a big one. The other ones are obviously that VAs have had to be let go because of they're just not up to the standard, which was obviously a big worry. But knowing that you can trust somebody that you've never even met. Obviously, I've had Skype calls and you spoke to them over the internet. But knowing that, well, if on certain days they do struggle, at least they're going to try their best and they're going to put in the extra time. Even this weekend, he was working, and it was actually trying to get him to the point where, well, just think long term. You've got to have your breaks so you don't burn out, and that you don't actually in a month's time you're not coming back to me, or you're not thinking to yourself, "Oh, I'm getting fed up of being on the computer." So, but it's actually getting him to realise, just take your break and enjoy life a little bit.
Yeah. Hey, I completely agree. Interesting from my perspective in my team, and we had it probably 2 months ago where I had to tell my VA who manages all the payroll and holiday, I was like, can we please tell our VAs to take some holiday? Like, I'm not going to pay them. If they want money, they're not getting money. They are taking the holiday. They have to have a break. And they're like, what? And I'm like, I really appreciate, like, honestly, I'm genuinely, like, I really appreciate the fact that you want to work and you want to work more and help the business out. Like, thank you so much, but you need a break, honestly. Like, and I said to them, I said, if you are not going to take it, I'm going to force it upon you. So take it when you want it, otherwise you're having it whether you like it or not. And I really agree with you, and I completely understand the concerns. And hey, it's true, I've had VAs who have quit after a week, who've randomly left, who I had to fire, who haven't delivered the results, and a lot of that is down to recruitment, getting the right person. But it's very interesting in the fact that when you find the right VA, when you get the right person, just how much further they're willing to go above and beyond, and especially people in the Philippines, it's really amazing. Like, and it's like, oh my God, this is really impressive. And like you say, you're only Skype calling, but they really work, and it's a very much they have a great work ethic when you get the right person, and it's very impressive. Yeah,
and stop calling me sir. I have to say that.
I completely agree, and that's a really funny one. Yes sir, yes sir. I'm like, my name's Tom, just call me Tom, I really don't mind. And they're like, sorry sir, Tom. Like, okay, fine, Tom. But yeah, it's fun. Let me ask you, what are your reasonings for maybe using a service like FastTrackFBA to hire a VA? What are your thought process in getting us to do it for you?
But for me, whenever I buy something online, I try and do as much research as possible. I had a few options. Obviously, yourself was one of them. But when I looked at you and I noted everything down, you had your, prior to your Amazon business, did you work in retail where you'd managed a lot of people and you'd interviewed a lot of people?
Yeah, general manager at bars.
Yeah, so that was one big box ticked over the other competition. Another thing was, obviously, you had a big FBA business yourself. You would have had to manage a lot of VAs yourself. You was based over in Vietnam, so you probably understood the culture of where you were getting the VAs a lot better than the competition. And then separately, obviously, you've got your FastTrack side where you've got a lot of VAs in there, so you would have had to gone through the training process for them as well as your own VAs. When I coupled that with the fact that I got the training course to keep, which was a big thing, and I've even looked through the training course and learned a few things myself. And obviously Janelle still has his login, so wherever he can go through that, or I can give it to other VAs myself. So they were the main reasons, along with, obviously, you've got your YouTube channel where I can see, oh, this guy is obviously, he's got his own business, he's talking about things a bit differently, he's going into a lot of detail on certain parts, he's a really good communicator, and I think you just get a good feeling for people. But I would just say to people, do as much research as possible. To go with FastTrack, I felt there was very little risk involved because of how much experience FastTrack had with training VAs. So.
Thank you. Yeah, and I think, look, if anyone watching this is, we are not the only service provider providing trained VAs. There are a lot, and I would really agree with anyone. Interesting. Do your research, ask for recommendations. One part of this video is, you've had an experience with us, and hey, I won't lie, we've had a client which has had a VA that has resigned, and we've dealt with that. And this is, they're only human. We have these problems. It's the very nature of what we're dealing with in our businesses, but very much from our perspective is we want to support you in your business and really help drive that. And and it's really nice to hear what your factors are that you're deciding about, which are making that decision. And hey, if anyone else is watching that, they can then also as well think about those deciding factors which are going to influence who they decide to go with. So thank you so much for sharing that. So obviously you got to the point now whereby you decided that you're going to come with the FastTrack FBA Academy, and you had a call with me. And just if anyone's watching this, just talk them through what was that process like. From the moment you said, "Yep, I want to go." Talk us through everything from that first week before your VA started on site with you. Talk us through that. What was it like?
The initial sign up, detailed, or give me recommendations on how much I wanted to pay my VA, what hours I wanted them to do, so I could specify that. When the deals came back to me, did I want to pay them for training or not? But it was good that you'd recommended certain things on the form that you would probably advise to do, so that helped, because I was none the wiser, to be honest. Obviously, you explain about the 13-month that you pay, so that was helpful. And then what was quite good was that form then, after submission, it got emailed to me, so that I've got that now saved in a folder that goes with the contract, so I know what I initially set out. And then obviously you've got Judette and your other people that were constantly giving me feedback. So when you were thinking of doing the initial interview phase, and then the fact that you'd found somebody, and then setting up the call. So around a week or two before Janelle started, I had a Skype call with him that went well, and that settled me a little bit, because I knew that this person understood English really well. He spoke English really well. He understood the Yorkshire accent. So another thing which might seem a little bit silly was that I could see them really well, so that I knew they had a good internet connection. Because obviously, you know what it's like when you're on a dodgy internet connection and it's blurry and whatnot. So that helped. The handover period was really smooth. So I had a date, I had a pay schedule that was emailed to me. So your VA will need to be paid for training that they've done this many hours on this much pay. You will need to then pay them on this date for the next few months. You asked how I wanted to pay, so via TransferWise or PayPal. I think you advised TransferWise, which is the one that I went with. And then obviously everything from there's been smooth, because I knew when he was going to start. I knew how much to pay him. One of the things I did, which I'd recommend to others, is do a bit of an introductory pack. Well, this is a bit about me. This is how we're going to communicate. This is how much you'll get paid. These are your hours. This is when you'll get paid. Any sick days, this is how I want you to communicate them. This is the software that I'm going to use, and this is where I want you to put the deals. So I'd pasted the link to the spreadsheet. The criteria. The criteria of the deals, which is obviously key. Just little reminders of that. And yeah, so that pack then got sent over a couple of days before Janelle started. Just confirmed that he understood everything in that. Because when he was going to start, his first hour that he started was going to be one 1 a.m. over here. So obviously I got all that cleared up prior to his first day. But yeah, everything was really smooth. The updates were really good, and all that sort of, it puts your mind at rest. And it's good to know what your VA is doing. And during the training, I was just messaging Janelle and just saying, how are you finding the training? Do you have any questions? Let me know. So I think that helped him, and it just got us communicating a little bit more as well, which I think probably helped him.
And if anyone's watching this and thinking, like, maybe when they're hiring their VA, obviously I can only be taught from the FastTrack FBA Academy, is it going to be a lot of work from my side while they're going through that process? What would you say to them? Is it, did you have to do a lot of work, in conjunction while we were doing the training, or was there not so much? How did you feel it went from your side?
During the training, I never had to do much work. It was more just pulling a few paragraphs for the introductory pack, getting all the websites in hand. When Janelle started, he understood everything in terms of what the deals were, how to use the software, which was actually a big thing. I know that you cover a few. I went with BuyBot Pro in the end, but I know that you cover a few different software extensions in your training. So it was good that he was up to speed straight away with that. I think actually one of the things that I missed to say was that Judah asked for my login details for the training, so that I'd purchased the software prior to the training, so then he could start using that as soon as possible. In the first few days, it was just half an hour here and there, just explaining things. So when all the deals had been submitted, just at the end, putting whether it was a winner or a loser, and a couple of words why it wasn't. So it might be, this is a really good product, but we're gated on this item. See this part in the software.
Yeah.
Or it might be something about, don't look so much at the BuyBot Pro graph, look more at the Keeper graph, because that gives you a better idea. Just little things like that. And then he would put at the side of it, noted on that, I can see that the price has gone from this to this, or we're gated in that.
Yeah.
Just them little things. And now it's been a week of that, where initially it might have been a 30-minute conversation. Now it's just like 2 or 3 minutes, and it's there. So
fantastic.
But I think one thing that I've always said to him is, spend 5 minutes at the beginning of each day just reviewing all your winners, because then you'll get a good idea of what I'm looking for.
Yeah, definitely. And that feedback, from you as a client going back to him, that's super important, because, hey, one thing I always say is everyone's Amazon business is slightly different. There might be some deals that you would buy that other people wouldn't. Generally we'll work to kind of similar criteria, but there are tweaks in that. And, constantly communicating with the VA and getting to review what works and what isn't is so important for them to go out and find more of them. That's it. And, it sounds like for me that you've got that communication on week 1 down really well. You've had a real nice introduction to your VA, really got to know him personally and feel confident with him. And then also as well, when you're feeding back on the deals, he's now taking that on board and actually running with it. 30 minutes to start with, now down to 3 minutes. That's a massive improvement. And my God, you're running your VA on 3 minutes a day. That's like incredible. So well done. You've now got this VA in your business, and hey, what I'll probably say is, 2 weeks ago, before they started with you, they'd probably never done Amazon. They'd never been on the Amazon platform, never done sourcing. And hey, I'm not going to sit here and say that they're an expert, they know everything. No, they're on their way to learning and to becoming very good at what they're doing, but they've still only done effectively 7 days of training and development in Amazon. But the question which I'd probably ask you is, when he started day 1, day 2, day 3, and everyone's asking this, is, do I have to spend a lot of time managing them? Is it hard work? That might be a real worry people have. And, what would you say to that? How's it been in managing, your VA from, even just that first week? How much time have you had to spend?
I haven't had to spend that much time managing him, but I almost wanted to spend time helping him, because at the end of the day, he's thousands of miles away in a room of his own, and I don't want him to feel like he hasn't got much support. So it was constantly, if you've got any issues, just send them over, and I'll get back to you as soon as I can. If you're not sure about something, just put it on the deal sheet and write a comment next to it that you aren't sure about this, blah, blah, blah. Don't have to spend a lot of time because they'll be up to speed on what the deals are. They'll have spent time with your VAs, and I think you do like a bit of a shadowing process, don't you, at the end, and a bit of a test. So he was up to speed on that. I wanted to spend time with him because I wanted to give him feedback on the deal criteria that I set, how I look at the keeper graph. But I think for people, you should almost want to spend a little bit of time up front because it'll pay off in the long run.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. And I think, look, from anyone who's hiring a VA or thinking of getting one, that, while we say in the academy they are trained to a certain extent, they know what they need to know, they're still now going to develop that. This isn't about leaving someone in their room to just get on with it and send them the odd message every now and then. No, it's about actually, this is a member of your company, this is a member of your team, these people add real value. You want buy-in from them, and the more you invest in them, and it's not just about, should we say, work, it's even about getting to them on a personal level, has such an impact upon how much they give back to you. And like you said it, where you're, my God, he's working like weekends, he's working too many hours. He's like, you're saying you need to have some time off. And actually that's a testament to you and the work that you've done and the VA you've got, and the fact that he's going way above and beyond, and you're actually saying, slow down. That's a nice situation to have, rather than, is he working enough? But hey, it sounds like a really good and testament to you and taking on that, putting that investment into him when he first started with you as well.
And I've been in jobs where the first week I'm thinking I could see myself being here for years, and a year later I've changed job. But I know that definitely the better I treat him and the more open I am with him, I've got more chance of keeping him.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And he sounds like a real asset to your business.
Yeah, I could even see him managing others, if you know what I mean. If I was to get other VAs, I could see him in that sort of, or maybe even because I trust him. So I've built up quite a bit of trust with him and spent time with him. And I could maybe see him being sort of like a bit of a purchasing manager, potentially. I think that's way off yet, but yeah, signs are really good.
It's great, honestly, really good, and I like that. And hey, from my perspective as well, is I did that whereby I took a VA internally who I had a lot of confidence and a lot of trust, and I felt was very good and very the right skill set and the right personality, and promote them into a purchasing manager. So she does all my purchasing now. So it's a really good thing, and it's nice that you've got that ability now whereby you're thinking about, it's not just this, where next? You're planning the next future steps, which is super interesting. Let me just ask you, hey, if anyone's watching this, we hire VAs to grow our business. We want to make money. That's it. At the end of the day, we're a business. We need to be profitable, and it costs a lot of money. We're not cheap. It's a big investment to not only it's a big investment on the training and development, to hire a VA through something like FastTrackFBA, but also as well to invest in the deals. So I think, look, one question everyone's really probably wanting to know is, this person 2 weeks ago didn't know Amazon at all. They've gone through the academy. They've now started with you. What are the deals like? What's the quality like? And how successful have they been in the limited time that they've been with you so far?
I calculated at the end of the first week, like I said before, I purchased 70%. In the first week, they paid for nearly 6 weeks of their wages in the first week.
Oh my God.
In terms of the sourcing sheets that I subscribe to, you're generally looking at a profit from anywhere from £1 to £3, whereas the deals that my sourcing VAs found have been like from £1, which is the minimum that I set. The deal had to be at least £1. A couple of them have been just over £30. So, which is exactly why I wanted to get a VA, because on those deals that he's finding, there's not going to be a lot of competition.
Yeah.
Whereas versus the sourcing sheets, there obviously is. The deals have been really good. Like I say, sometimes he's found 7 deals a day. Sometimes he's found 14 deals a day.
So probably just to add to that is we're not having this phone call in December, November when it's Q4 and there are sales left, right and center. We're actually having this phone call right now. It's the 19th of January 2020. And if I had to say at any time in the whole year whereby you're probably going to have deals that are struggling to find, it's going to be now. This is probably the toughest time to find deals. January sales are finished. You're in February, late February, and that's really good. I'm really impressed with that, and I'm really pleased as well. From me to you to say, this is such a big investment. It's such a big amount of money to invest, and it's the next level in your business. This is your first VA, and for them to week one, for them to be getting 6 times their salary and to be finding you're buying 70% of their deals, that is fantastic news. And the thing which I'll probably just really reiterate, 3 weeks ago, he had never been on the Amazon marketplace, never done sourcing before. And he's here now doing this for you. And he's going to grow. No one's perfect on week one. You're going to have, like you said, you're going to get some days where it's 5 deals, 7 deals. It's not much. And then other days are going to be more. But that average will actually increase over time as he gets better, as he improves. But I think that's a really, really good, result from your first week. And I think, a fantastic result. And also, I think it's a testament to you and how you've managed that relationship with him. And he's giving you so much extra above and beyond what someone working a normal 9 to 5 hour or 9 to 5 shift might do. So that's really good. This is your first VA in your business. Things change. Your thought process before having a VA versus your thought process after having a VA. What's changed for you now? What are you thinking about differently?
I'm thinking, am I going to have enough time to purchase all these deals? In terms of because obviously I've got the sourcing sheets, I've then got the VA. So trying to maybe get someone that's going to review all the deals, because there's nothing worse than seeing that a deal's being put on the sheet, you come to it 24 hours later, because you didn't have enough time to go through it on the day and it's gone. Yeah. So yeah, it's just about making sure I have enough capital and enough time to actually buy the deals, and making sure that obviously, how do you get that VA to even be better? Which I know will come with time, because he'll see certain parts of sites that are really good. That would be the next step, just making sure I can buy as many of them deals as possible.
Fantastic. And we're right now February 2020. Where do you see your business going towards Q4? What's the next steps this year that you're doing now that you've got this VA? Where do you see the future going for you?
Well, I've just recently outsourced all my prep side of things. So from now until Q4, I want to build more of a replenishable list. So what I've got Janelle to do a couple of days ago was do a little bit of reverse sourcing. Yeah. So looking at other sellers, what replenishables do they have? I know a few sellers that do a lot of replenishables, but they might be more retail based. So getting him to go through them, and he's done that. So that's where it's going for me until Q4. But then obviously, I'll be thinking about getting somebody to help out with reviewing, and then maybe with a view to purchasing themselves.
Cool.
And then who knows, maybe another VA depending on the capital that I have. So.
Oh my God. Hey, it's good. It's the future, you're looking potentially in less than a year's time, potentially having 3 VAs, purchasing, 2 sourcing, outsourced prep center. That's, from where you were even 2 months ago, that's massive. That's a massive game changer, isn't it, for you and your business?
Yeah. Well, in Q4, I realized that the more products I had coming in, obviously, the more prep I have to do, and then the more management of that inventory you have to do. So everything just gets bigger and bigger. Yourself, you can't do it all. So
let me just finish off with the one final thing is to say, if anyone's maybe watching this, they're thinking, I'm a bit on the fence, maybe hiring a VA, or maybe even like using a service like FastTrackFBA. I just ask you very directly, would you recommend it to them? And, what advice would you give them?
I definitely would recommend it, but I'd also say go and do your own research.
Yeah.
Have a scan through your YouTube channel. Who are you? Go and look at other people and compare prices, because yours was the same price as everyone else I'd seen, and I got more at the end of it, if you know what I mean. The fact that I had the video at the end of it, the course to look through, and the VA to look through was something extra. So yeah, I would recommend it, and I'd just say to people, go and do your own research. Speak to people that have already gone through the program. I mean, I did that recently. I looked at a course that just been run, and I spoke to the people that were on the testimonials page, and they all hadn't even done the course themselves. So it's always best to just maybe message a few people that have been through it and get first-hand notes off them. I'm in the Facebook group, so if anyone wants to put anything in there or message me, they're more than welcome to.
And do you mind, if we're going to drop this on YouTube, do you mind if I just drop a link down to your Facebook profile on YouTube, or would you rather not?
I'd rather not, but if they just message in the group,
FastTrackFBA groups,
and maybe tag me, if they're more than welcome to tag me.
Yeah, that's cool. Appreciate it. You don't want too many, like everyone just messaging you like, hey, can you do something, etc. Tell me the ins and outs. That's fine. I really understand. Okay, fine. I mean, is there anything else you want to say before we finish, or anything you want to share before we finish?
No, great.
Cool. I think that, from my perspective, can I just say thank you so much for taking your time out of your day, your business and, your busy life to, record this with me, and also to share it with anyone else who, maybe is thinking about hiring a VA, what the process you've gone through, and even if they're considering FastTrackFBA or maybe someone else, what the options are. And then also as well, thank you for sharing so much, about your experience and the way it's been. That's been really eye-opening. And also for me, thank you so much for sharing. We're learning so much from this, but also as well, thank you very much for being a customer. Really great to have you on board, and it's been a real pleasure. Honestly, it really has. And it's been a real pleasure to be able to hire you a VA, put him in your business, and then literally see that grow and see the results. At the end of the day, this is about delivering results, and I'm so pleased to hear about the success you're having. And I really hope that continues. I have no reason to believe it won't, but it sounds like it's been a real win-win situation, and well done to you. Really love it.
Thank you. Thanks for all your work. Thank you.
Fantastic. Right, I will leave you to it. Thank you very much, and you take care.
Cheers, Thomas. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.